He's got memes in the morning and more in the evening. It's Charlie. And when trading gets hard and support starts to lean, search Charlie. He's BTC Charlie with his linguini charting. He loses sometimes, but hardly. He's BTC Charlie. But now he's GBP Charlie. It doesn't matter what he's charting. His trading is tough, but it's not all that bad with Charlie. He's got memes in the morning and more in the evening. It's Charlie. And when trading gets hard and support starts to lean, search Charlie.
Right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's everyone doing? So you missed the bull market. You've missed generational wealth opportunities. You're sidelined. You've made $0 from everything going up. Firstly, it's over. That's it. Done. Never another trade ever again. You missed it. You missed generational wealth. I just thought I'd crush your dreams to start off the stream. Seems like a pretty reasonable way to start it. I am, of course, joking. What's good? Everything, mate. Everything's good. We're recovering. We've stopped dying, which is, well, I suppose every day is a step closer to the end. But yeah, last week was horrific in terms of chest infection, etc., which you'll probably hear throughout the stream and in my voice. As we progress a little bit, I will mute occasionally just to slurp some water, because as you can probably tell, my voice loses power quite quickly, which is slightly annoying. The stream of broken dreams. That's I might rename this from Crypto Market Overview to Stream of Broken Dreams. But yeah, how is everyone doing in all seriousness? Did any of you manage to catch some of these nice moves? Are you all super bullish, super bearish? What's the kind of strat? What's everyone thinking at this moment? Live streaming and broken dreaming. Yes, that is the one. My recovery's strong, yeah, cheers. It's alright. It's definitely getting there. I'm a lot better than I was last week. Last week I was horrific. Was probably the illest I've been in a long time. Doing fine, bullish, someone else flying. Yeah, cheers, Dr. Puya. Your advice certainly saw me through. I was desperate. That was definitely the low, actually. I kind of capitulated at the low and tweeted about it, and I was just like, everybody help me, I'm dying. Which I wasn't. But yeah. Do decent bullish but furious about my positioning, missing out on lots of action. What happens did you end up getting, by the way? I bought some really cheap ones, to be honest, because I couldn't make a decision, as is pretty standard with me spending any form of money on anything. Because the more money I have, the less I want to spend, which is the most ridiculous problem and first world problem to have. But alas, that's where we are. I kind of don't see it just as like money to gamble on shitcoins. I see it as, money should be making money at this stage in my life, and where I'm at, sort of personally, I don't want to go out and just spaff it on shit, whether it's headphones, PCs, whatever. So I'm a tight fuck, and I'd rather buy some properties than I would things like that. So yeah, that's me. Why is on-chain so PvP? Such a cat mentality, just like Jim. Yeah, maybe. On-chain so PvP because that's like literally the definition of on-chain. There's no big market makers there. Well, there are some projects, that's a lie. There's not really much liquidity. You ape 10 ETH in some shitcoin, you're going to print a candle. At least most shitcoins worth aping in on-chain. Yeah, it's a mess, and it is a PvP like area. I'm in a lot of shitcoins, by the way, right? I'm in a lot of low cap dog shit coins, some of which are not dog shit, some of which are great, but some of which are, they're not on major exchanges, they're not with the fully doxed teams, they're not with all this, that, and the other. Basically, I went through a period of, if anything had AI in the title and seemed like reasonably good, or had some kind of use case, I bought it and aped some ETH in and just saw what happened, basically. When Elon brain chip live stream, don't know. Good afternoon, Daniel Upshaw. How are you, sir? Would you like 10 grand? Some dust. Hopefully some of them have hats. Association gang. Yeah. Ewan's been pulling off some bangers in the association. Yeah, where are we at? Let's just go through things really quickly. I mean, obviously you've all seen just the fucking up only Bitcoin charts. You've all seen the up only ETH charts. Like, there's not really much more that I can really add to this. I posted a meme div the other day, and I just want to be very clear with divergences in these kind of conditions. Divergences will happen, but everyone is like absolutely mental risk on at the moment, as kind of demonstrated by my favorite wonderful tool, the old spaghetti. Pepe has kind of gone 1.5x in a day, pretty fucking ridiculous. Or well, technically 2.5x, but you know what I mean. With closely following it, and is obviously the coin that I chose to focus on as opposed to Pepe. I'm also in a load of other garbage positions, which we'll talk through in a bit. And some of them are okay, some of them are not great, some of them are kind of lagging. I wanted to pivot to a few more high time frame setups, and my logic for most of those will be pretty clear when we go through them. But now I think we're at the time where there's two ways of getting on board if you are late, and we'll talk about them in a bit. I think for Bitcoin and ETH, I think it's very difficult to join these trends. Like, you are literally looking at low time frame consolidations and trying to jump on board at some point, or you're waiting for a pullback. And how many people are waiting on a pullback? Probably quite a few. Everyone's been quote unquote sidelined on this move. Doesn't mean we're not going to get a pullback. No, absolutely not. The trade-off of sentiment versus what's actionable is quite a difficult one, to be honest, which for me is just why I always look at charts, because the chart doesn't fucking lie. And everyone is euphoric on Twitter, I think, despite the fact that they might not all be positioned, and they might have only got $10 of their portfolio into different coins and blah, blah, blah. But it's the promise of the notion that, like, look how close we are to all-time high. And, I will say this again and again and again, because when we breached all-time high before, and I tweeted this the other day and it didn't get much engagement, but obviously I did it in a, like, semi-high IQ way, and all the plebs didn't quite get the message. But, we consolidated on the previous all-time high before, and, if we do that again up here somewhere, and we do this, like, what happened after on total market cap, including altcoins, is Bitcoin started running, and about a couple of days after, like, the whole altcoin side went like that, and Bitcoin dominance rose, and then as soon as this started turning, and altcoins just went absolutely mad. And I'll show you what I mean in terms of, I think I've still got it marked up on the total chart. So, things have got crazy. Yeah, here you go. Bitcoin breaks previous all-time high, 16th of December 2020. And what I wanted to kind of show is that there was this period of sell-off, right, in alts, because everyone just went, hey, Bitcoin. And Bitcoin will do that. It will suck the liquidity out of all the alts, and they will not perform as well, and everyone will rush back into BTC. And I still think that behavior will happen this cycle. I still think that behavior will be prevalent around that all-time high breach. So that will be a nice buying opportunity, should it happen in the same way that it did last time. And if you think about the rationale, like for me, it stacks up, right? For me, it stacks up on the basis of, if we are breaching the all-time high on Bitcoin, it's a pretty safe trade that you're going to get a few percent up quite easily. And then you get a bit of FOMO, and you get people running in, you get people buying in. Doesn't mean you don't get the classic all-time high break and then retest, because that is one of my favorite setups of all time for trend continuation. I've posted about it loads and loads and loads and loads and loads. It's worked on so many different coins at so many different points. One of the good ones that I showed it on was PAL, way back when, like this was back here. So, you literally use that meme line of former all-time highs as a kind of resistance support. It's a little bit harder at this point because it was like an on-chain, relatively illiquid. Well, it wasn't illiquid, but it certainly didn't have high liquidity. So it breached that all-time high, came back under, and then pushed through, and then that was it. That was the next leg up. And that's typically what I used to use for 2021 bull run, 2020-2021 bull run, to get on board some real fucking bangers. I think CHZ was one of the ones where I just ran for like 4x in a couple of days or something off literally a simple all-time high retest and go. Like, nothing complicated. And that's the thing, in these conditions, it doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to give you an invalidation to be able to manage your risk, and then you need to have some form of system for taking profits, otherwise you will get fucked. And looking at Pepe, like, is anyone in Pepe at the moment? Anyone catch the move on Pepe? Hopefully some of them have hats. Yes. I was exited at 0.17. 0.17, I was up here somewhere. So one of the things that I do, this is fucking dog shit. Why am I on Pepe Poloniacs? Fucking hell. Let's delete that shit off right now. I wonder if it's liquid garbage. So one of the things that I like doing on these kind of coins is literally just chucking in an EMA and just evaluating. I did it on WLD, so there were a lot of questions. Oh, how'd you hold that for so long? And the reality is, again, like, the time frame that you're trading it on makes a big difference, right? But we've not had any EMA cross until here. And when I'm looking at this, like, all I'm seeing is like a range. And that's the first bit where you go, well, actually, let's put VRVP on as well, just so that we've kind of got the clear sort of definition. That's quite clear, even though there's a tiny bit of volume that will be credited over here, but still, that's quite a clear kind of range. Do I really want to be popping my position off there? Like, no. I want to hold this because I've got the strongest performing coin of the last few days that's broken out of, a multi-week consolidation and a huge range. Actually, it's way back here. It's May 23. It's broken out of that. Like, that's what, best part of a year? I mean, yeah, okay, it's had a bit of a deviation, right? A 3 and a bit month deviation. But, is this where I would want to be puking? No. Like, and I know this is easy to do in hindsight, but I'll do it with the WLD trade because I actually did that one. Where is it? It's up in my stuff I'm watching list. I really need to tidy all this up, but it's been too dramatic. So with this, it's, I was going on the 4-hour chart and I was looking at the trend and I was just saying, right, we've had I expect this to be a pretty big mover. It's AI, that's 12-hour. You retard. There we go. I expect this to be a pretty clear trend, and actually it's held that 4-hour trend for a long time. Change of market structure here. This is where you kind of go, well, should probably close the position, but actually from a 4-hour close perspective, we held on. Got another leg pretty much straight away. You've now got this former resistance turned into support. Okay, well, you'd expect trend continuation. It hasn't happened. You've got those sell-offs, you've got that strong move, you've got that sell-off, you've got that strong move, or weaker move rather, and you've got that sell-off, and it's just kind of continuing to go. And my invalidation is I've lost the EMA, and I've lost this former resistance turn support, and that's kind of enough for me to say, do you know what, that was a good trade, let's move on to the next. But now I'm quote-unquote frozen out of my WLD position, and I don't have a position in this market at the moment. Now, when I'm looking at it, I'm sat here going, okay, well, let's say I still want to be in this trade. One of the easiest and simplest setups you are going to get in any form of risk-on environment is strong move up, consolidation, sell off, reclaim, and go. That is literally it, right? Okay, and that's not drawn perfectly well, but you kind of get the point, right? Is that you will have this consolidation, you'll have a strong sell-off, you will reclaim that range, and then you will fuck off to Narnia. And that gives you a perfect kind of opportunity to jump on board the next leg. If this move, in particular, is really strong on spaghetti, you want to wait the shit out of that. Not financial advice, obviously. Everything I say is for educational purposes only, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm trying to do in this stream is talk to sideliners and to say, right, everything's happened. Okay, all of these trades, all these wonderful P&Ls that are getting flashed around, all done. All done. And I'm going to suck myself off a little bit during this stream and say all these wonderful things that I've done and yada, 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 and put it in the Paragon group. And like even all of this, like even all my, not this, even all my alerts, everything popping off, like some of these were absolutely ridiculous. Like XVG, just putting all these alerts, firing them off to the Discord. Do you want to trade this? Yes, no. If you do, where's your invalidation? It's down here. Bang, there's a 2x. Like, there's still stuff that hasn't popped. So there's still stuff on here. SPX, like, that's going to pop at some point, I have no doubt. Neo, again, that's a fucking old coin. Famously Ant shares. These coins, maybe not IOTA so much, but there's plenty of stuff still waiting to pop. Now, you can pre-position or you can not. I'm actually in a Doge trade. We'll come on to Doge in a minute. But there's loads and loads of stuff that you can prepare for. BEL, what the fuck is BEL? Is it going to pump at some point? Probably, if we're on risk-on conditions. Lots of Palm people in the chat, lovely. Yeah, Palm was a banger. I mean, Palm went, what, 2, 3, 4x in like 4 or 5 days? Not even that. Literally. And it's a really good example of Twitter and how to use Twitter. I literally posted, here's my AI portfolio, and here's everything I've got in it. A load of people came back and said, you haven't got this. And somebody, actually, a chap called Gus, who I shouted out, or Goose, I don't know how you say it properly, G-U-U-S, very constructively came back and said, have a look at this project. And I was like, do you know what? If you make a sensible argument and a reasoned argument, I'll go and have a look. So I did. And I think when I started the Charlie account, that was one of the things that I did, is I went through Trade Ogre, and I went through every single project one at a time, and I wrote a little review on it. And I said, it's 6 out of 10 for these reasons. And a load of people, well, some people who were bag holders just came and gave me shit and called me a retard and said, you know nothing. And other people actually came with their opinions and thoughts and said, you're wrong for these reasons, this is why this coin is good, and I changed my mind on some of those. And you're perfectly right to kind of change your mind and really reevaluate your stance. But crypto Twitter can be really powerful if used correctly, I guess is my point. And there's still other trades to have, and there's still plenty of stuff to do. So this was my thought process on Doge, and you're going to see this a lot on Twitter, like, and the same this chart is XRP, right? So take a photographic image of this in your mind's eye, and then we'll go and talk about XRP. So we were talking about risk on, talking about meme season, talking about all this kind of stuff, and lo and behold, Doge, pops. So does Whiff, so does Pepe, so does all this other stuff. Doge has got really nice liquidity compared to the others, and it's obviously started off really well. Personally, I'm just going to move stops up and just make sure that I don't give pretty much anything back. But yeah, this is the kind of swing trade on Doge. It's broken out of a multi-year kind of value area on a very high time frame pivot, and that's the kind of trade that I like. So it's got really easy invalidation. If we're going to go full bull and full redacted mode, which I don't see why not. In terms of Bitcoin is what 12k off all-time highs, not unimaginable. Like, this, I'm probably going to layer some take profits on this, but, sort of here, and here, as in, basically these levels here. So I think I've just answered your question in terms of taking partial profits. I like taking partial profits purely because I'm pretty risk averse. Whilst I'll ape a shitcoin and I'll put an amount in there, when I put that amount in there, I kind of write it off, and it's an amount that I'm happy to lose. So the way I trade on chain is it's high risk, and I appreciate it's high risk. And when I do it, I commit that money to go to zero. So I'm happy with it, and it's a smaller balance. I'm not going to fuck around. If I'm putting X amount in a shitcoin and then I want to sell it at minus 40%, I guarantee it will come back the next day or a day after, and it'll be 2, 3, 4x. And the other reason that I do that is that it stops me from just aping any old shit, because someone said something on Twitter, or someone who I respect follows it, or just, stupid shit like that, right? Which was me in 2017, that, there was a Disney reference, or there was this, there was that, and the other, put your big boy pants on, or big girl pants on, and make your own decisions, and kind of go with them and live by them. And, I never blame anyone for... One of my friends said, here's a dog coin, let's fucking ape. And I was like, all right, go on. I stuck a couple of ETH in it last night, woke up this morning, down 50%, job done. How to lose thousands of dollars in a very short space of time because you just wanted to be in a meme coin with your friend. That's pretty much the story. But, I'm happy to take on that risk. I'm happy to go through that. You never know. I'll come back to it in a couple of weeks, and it might be like 40, 50 ETH or something stupid, but unlikely. But you kind of have to speculate at some point in some of these shitcoins. Excuse my noobness, trying to learn a few things. Many coins are at 97 weekly RSI. Doesn't matter anymore with all the hype, or are they likely to correct big time? I mean, that's the infinite question, my friend. The reality is that the market can kind of stay redacted longer than anyone can try and stay solvent shorting and getting on the other side of this. My personal approach, which is different to others, some people say that you have to trade both ways to be a good trader. I completely disagree. I think that there are times to manage a risk, and I think that you can be a good trader with just shorting on the odd occasion, which is what I do, so therefore I'm biased. But that generally crypto pays much better being on the long side. So if you're asking from the perspective of should you be shorting right now, I personally am absolutely staying away from the red button, right? You would have to pay me a lot of money to press the red button, which probably means the top's close. But for me, it's just not worth it. Like, why fade this momentum, right? Why fade it? There's just no point. We're so close to all-time highs, which will be the kind of next catalyst. There's various things that I think can and will happen. It was a Reddit that put Bitcoin and ETH on the balance sheet, even though they were quote unquote in insignificant sums. It's still some form of like institutional adoption and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's it's pretty hyped, and you can see it in the market. You know, this move even on Doge is quite different. You know, it's all quite hot. He means, how do I sell the top? Yeah. You know, from a weekly perspective, I don't see many coins on the kind of 90 level on RSI, but maybe. Like, you know, if we compare it to other cycles, which is probably the best thing that we can do, right? You know, we're here, we're at an 80 level. So if you draw that across and you just do, I know this is horrible. It's doing technical analysis on, you know, RSI, and basically saying this is resistance. You know, how do you know from an RSI perspective that you're not here? I'm not suggesting we are, by the way, but maybe we are. You know, weekly RSI for Bitcoin massively overbought, and it will be overbought in an uptrend purely because of how crypto is basically a fuel combination of speculative premium and collective crowd psychology. Like, that's what it is. So it's a frenzy. So, you know, the question is, do you want to fade this momentum? And for me, the answer is no. For you, it might be. Yeah, how do you sell the top? Well, let me ask you this question. Did you buy the bottom? Because if you didn't buy the bottom, you're probably not going to sell the top. I didn't buy the bottom. You know, I'm not sat here on my what was it, 9K Bitcoin buys. No. You know, the FTX. You know, I made a calculated judgment of the risk, the systematic risk around crypto, and I was just like, nope, not going to load a chunk of change back into it because didn't know what the fallout of FTX was. And then when we got this reclaim, I was like, okay, well, now's the time to start really speculating to the long side. And when we got this breakout, it was like, right, let's go a bit harder. And that's my risk appetite, right? There were people ballsy enough to go balls deep then. Wasn't me, not my risk appetite. We hadn't, you know, formed the start of an uptrend or done anything worth, you know, being noteworthy of. But yeah, my point is, if you didn't buy the bottom, you're not going to sell the top. Which is why I always think, like, if you're sat on 5 million quid now and you're currently going to your job that's paying you 30 grand a year, you should really consider your position, and not let, like, the euphoria take over. But I'm sure not many of you would be listening to me babble on about markets if you were in such a position. The thought of overbought is a fallacy in a bull market. Thinking of it as strength rather than overbought. Yeah, that's a much better way to phrase it, to be honest. You know, when you are in an uptrend and when you start seeing divergences, it's where you can start thinking, well, really, is this going to start entering a distributive range, or, you know, like a Wickhoffian distribution schematic, which I don't really like. I think they're pretty bullshitty, but I like the range version of it, which is, you know, you basically sweep the 4 highs, you come back in, and there's, you know, trade 1 is usually falling back into that range. Trade 2 is adding to it by getting the retest up here, and then it just kind of sells off and dies. But I think taking the short side trade is very difficult, and I think it's much easier just to be long. What the hell's TwitchCon and what are these adverts? I don't know. I didn't realize there were adverts on my Twitch. I kind of only streamed to Twitch because it's there by default on Streamlabs because I registered with my Twitch account. But yes, what will I look for on Bitcoin? So I have a decent spot bag of Bitcoin that I've had forever and a day, basically. You know, I've always been buying Bitcoin to an extent, and, you know, my average is quite low. It's somewhere down here. And when I sell it, it's going to be up in the, you know, sort of six-figure minimum range. You know, I don't see why we can't breach all-time highs, and I don't see why when we breach all-time highs we won't just kind of pop up to these kind of meme 6-figure levels, and then we start flying from there. And you've got to start thinking that, like, when we're at 120k, like, when we're at that kind of level, a 1% move is going to be like a couple of $1,000. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be wild in terms of the swings. You know, it's already pretty wild in terms of, like, a 10% move is, you know, 5.6k or something like that. Buy when Pelosi buys, yeah. sell when Kramer says buy. Do I think there'll be a pre-halving dip in Bitcoin? Yeah, probably. And I think this is where people get really like, you can't say that, Charlie. Of course you fucking can. If I look at the behavior towards the previous all-time highs, and this happens on lots of coins, right? Not just Bitcoin, but like looking at that, everyone got so fucking hyped that it was going to break all-time highs, and then bang. And even in that, like, it doesn't look that dramatic. That was a 16% sell-off, which means all the altcoins just absolutely shut the bed. You had another run, and then you had a 10% sell-off, 11% sell-off basically on Bitcoin. So 16%, 10%. And I'm not saying it's going to do exactly the same, right? We're in a different regime. We don't actually have FTX, which allegedly we're manipulating markets. Obviously not financial advice and just my unthought through opinion. And in that, in that very predatory game that they played of just manipulating markets, I think we've actually seen a lot more. We saw a lot more like liquidation wipes and OI wipes than we have in this run. Probably because of their predatory playstyle and the way that they manipulated the books. But it does make a pretty reasonable point for people who have been underwater since forever to kind of take some money off the table and go with it. So, will there be pullbacks? I kind of expect there will be at some point. Sorry, it was down here, wasn't it? I think there will be at some point. I think trying to play into those pullbacks and play for the pullbacks, trying to catch a 10% move down versus a 100% move up is retarded. I think that it's a one-stop shop to the poverty line. But there will be some people who short the absolute pico top, like Magus did last time. There will be points where I think it's pretty reasonable to hedge up, particularly if we get that kind of ranging structure that I talked about before, and we get that at a high after a really parabolic move up, then that's a kind of sensible place to hedge, in my opinion, if I've got lots of spot alt bags. Because if this dies and actually starts, 30%, 40% pullbacks, and if something odd happens in TradFi as well, TradFi has been pretty much up only, so we can't kind of ignore the fact that we were talking about divergences and stuff. We can't ignore that it's just been on a huge grind up, and same with SPX. Everything's breached former highs, and it's just been up only mode. But if something wild happens over here, then I'm sure that there will be an impact onto crypto. Good meow, Isco. What's one of your golden ticket trades recently? God, I don't know. I don't think there's been because the way I position myself at the moment is I'm quite lucky, in the sense of I've got capital to deploy into different points, into different projects, into different, elements. Some of the big wins recently, I suppose none of them have been super, super big. I've got lots of wins, but none of them have been monstrous. And it's because I'm probably not levering up as much as I should. The downside of my approach is that I will not be the guy that buys the bottom and sells the top. And I will not be the guy that takes that trade on 10x leverage. Whilst my P&L card will suggest it, it's because I only keep a tenth of the capital I want to trade with on exchanges. And that won't be for me. And I'm still trading with, sensible risk management limits. I'm not pushing it too hard. Can we say Magus is one of the biggest nerd chads of the game? I think he knows too much. Yeah, no, I agree. But that's why he makes a great educator. Because he makes it so effortless in the Paragon. And he can just explain everything. And he can just talk through funding, he can talk through order flow, he can talk through all sorts of stuff that even a pleb like me can understand it, who just draws lines on shit. Get the beans of the move. Yeah, get the beans of the move. That is literally me. There have been some decent investments, or pre-sales, dirty pre-sales, that I make, which is fine. I disclose it. It's Sadly, one of the benefits of being an influencer is you get to partake in some of these. And some of them done really well. Some of them done really shite. Some of them have rugged money in the past. And obviously, if the market goes tits up, then I'm vested, and I've got an awful lot of money currently tied up in pre-sales that aren't launching for months. So, whilst it is quote-unquote free money season right at this point in time, there will be pre-sale bags that I have invested in and will end up bag holding through the next bear market. What's the lens going about? Oh, it's just about loans, and it's all on 4chain. But it's like zero cost basis. And it's one of the ones where, again, I got a pre-sale bag, so full disclosure, I can't even remember what the pre-sale price is. But it is a lot lower than this. I can't remember if it's like 0.04, 0.0. I don't know. You can Google it and find out. But basically, I averaged in somewhere around here. I think my average is around 0.1. So, I had a bag that was basically down here somewhere, and I've averaged in to the point where I think it's lower than that, where it's like down here. So, this is one I've added to because it's like 7 million market cap or something stupid, and it's incubated by ThorChain Rune, and Rune did very, very well last cycle. So I think this, I genuinely think that this does pretty well, and I'm not just saying it because I'm an investor. But the other side of that is, I'm not just saying it because I'm an investor. Well, why would I invest in something that I think is dog shit? Like, what's the point in that? I don't understand. And I say no to a lot more than I say yes to. So if you're seeing I've invested in it, it's because I think it's good. But I will be wrong, right? And everyone is wrong. I will just, reminisce on the Joule chart. Wow, look at that pump. What a move. Whoop. Even though actually before this it ran up like this, which you don't really see on this chart. A lot of influencers were calling it there, and then when it went fucking apeshit, nobody sold, and then people got absolutely rugged hard from the bear market. And that will happen again this time, and I'm sure as time progresses and as time goes on, and I invest in more and more and more projects, when the final curtain comes down, which, if I could time that top perfectly, then that would be great, but it's unlikely, then these projects that I start investing in and talking about are going to be, and they're not going to do well. But when that happens, don't know. But yeah, it's nice in the chat, guys. Everyone's hyped today. There's a lot of chat, which is good. We catch up. XRP's roll over 70-80k this year if they don't Bitcoin 100k plus. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why we won't just kind of continue, even if we get some pullbacks, even if we're looking at bidding on, like literal range retests, even if we front run some of that demand, looking for opportunities to jump on if you're not on. But it's going to be quite difficult in the current regime of just max fucking bid. Palm is an AO startup already up from. Yeah, I know, mate. I've got a bag of Palm. If you look at my feed, I've actually spammed Palm in the last week because I said, I bought a bag of Palm at like 2.5 or something, and it went to 0.75, so literally like 3x in a day, or in a couple of days. I wish I was staring at the opportunities and not listening to Tim shout, "It is the rabbit," while I look beyond it. What's the average vesting on your pre-sale buys? Oh, that's a good question. Some of them are. I don't want to lie to you, so I don't want to make it up. Some of them you have like a 10 or 20% at TGE, which is token generation event. So you get given a small percentage of your tokens, and then you have what's called a cliff. So you'll have a 1 month, 3 month, 6 month cliff before you get your next set of tokens, and then you'll have a vesting period of like 12 months. So for example, you might get 10% on TGE with a 6-month cliff, and then vested daily over a 12-month period. So it actually takes you, a year and a half basically to get all of your tokens. But in these conditions, when they launch, they tend to launch at a multiple of what you paid for them. So whether you break even or not on the initial tokens that you get, is kind of the question. And you'll see a lot of people kind of talk about the project coming up to the day of launch, and then it launches, and then they never talk about it again. It's probably because they've sold their allocations and they just want to flip it on to the next one, and then they've got a vested bag over however many months or years, and that's it. It's gone. I try not to do that because if I invest in it, I believe in it, and if I believe in it, I hope it does well. And some of them don't, right? Some of them don't do perfectly, but some of them do really well. AIT, for example, is one that they've just been burning their whole fucking supply. At this rate, I'm gonna own ours. Shite chart. Doesn't show. I think this. No, it's not that. It's AIT protocol. No, that's good, isn't it? Boomer Charlie doesn't even know how to chart. How to chart his own shitcoins. Let me just fire it up on the old, what's it called? Bosh. This, for example, I was kind of tweeting about this all in this range here, and now it's absolutely flown up like 3, 4, 5x to the highs. And I think the pre-sale price is quite a lot lower. Well, no, it is a lot lower. So yes, I'm shilling my own bags. I can't remember the vesting terms for this one specifically, but you got 10, 20% or whatever up over here. A lot of people probably sold into this, and then you have a while of consolidation, not really doing much, and then you break out because everyone's like, AI projects are the best, let's go, and suddenly you're up 3, 4x. But obviously if you were in the pre-sale at 0.03 or whatever it was, you're up a lot more than that, right? Because it pays to be early and at a cheaper price. So yeah, I hope that answers with it. I've got no problem talking about this kind of stuff. It's all out there, and you can look at what price things are for seed rounds, private sale rounds, all that kind of stuff. Can I check CeeLo, bro? CeeLo are green. But one thing I would do. Well, no, I'm gonna stick to my agenda. One thing I want to just make very clear is there is, and I banged on about this in the group. In my opinion, there's kind of no point in trying to get too clever with the market. We are still in a period where the total USD stablecoin market cap is just going up. And that was pretty much where the risk came on in October. So in October, which is the bottom of the stablecoin market cap, risk came back to the market because October, November, December were fucking great. January, February, March have been fucking great. Or January, February has been great. And we've been in that up only mode in terms of stables. There's no coincidence that this is going up and the entire market is pumping to shit, right? At least not in my mind. So let's talk about some shitcoins that I want to talk about, and then we'll come on to your shitcoins. We'll go through your shitcoins. So Doge, I'm long. This is what it looks like. Like I said before, take profits around here. What else? Matic. I am unfortunately long Matic, and it's a pretty similar scenario to all of this kind of high time frame pivot thought process, which is basically you've got these levels of resistance, support, etc. And I kind of have to take the breakout. I took the low time frame breakout play, which was literally meme triangle. So in terms of setups in the current environment, meme triangles and just that proof of demand is enough for me. We know we're in risk on conditions. We need some form of invalidation, but we also need some signs of strength. If there's no sign of strength on spaghetti, so you're looking at the 1 minute spaghetti chart, I don't need to teach you that this is, that Pepe is literally jumping out of the screen. if you'd paid attention to Twitter, if you looked at Spaghetti, you'd have seen it. My plan, my trading was actually around whiff. And the reason I picked whiff was because of this. I personally thought that, and incorrectly thought, that whiff would come back to be the number one performing altcoin, because the way that we've had rotations before is we've had that risk sentiment shift to high beta meme coins, and when it's been high beta meme coins, it's usually been the latest meme coin that's ran. And by that I mean we had Pepe, right? And then we had Bonk, and Bonk ran, and then after Bonk we had whiff. And actually, what tended to happen was that actually once one had kind of done its parabolic cycle, which Pepe did, and Bonk did, and whiff is doing, like that was kind of the rotational meme. I did not expect Pepe to be the number one performing alt over the last few days, but there we are. Spaghetti tells me I'm wrong, and actually whiff is number two by a smallish margin. To be honest, it's not huge. Actually, I think it might be huge. I might be making that up. Yeah, that was 20%. Wow, 10%. What's 10% between friends? Yeah, not too bad. But, would I be aping in here? No, absolutely not. And the rationale is I would want to see some form of consolidation. So I love the setup I talked you through earlier, which is just literal range reclaims, because it gives you such a nice invalidation, right? So setup 1, Bosh, reclaim, invalidation, go. Especially on strength, right? Love that. Absolutely love that. Really easy. Setup 2, you've got a high time frame pivot, and you've got some form of meme triangle. And by meme triangle, I mean literally like this. And the reason that wedges work is because you have demand coming in at higher prices, and you have selling orders resting at these prices, or sellers stepping in at these prices that eventually just give way and just deplete. And if one is outpacing the other dramatically, I'm happy to take that in these conditions pretty much 9 out of 10 times. The only reason I wouldn't take it generally is liquidity issues. So if you're looking at this on some dog shit coin with $10 daily volume, then I'm not particularly interested. PCH, I'm actually in a position on as well, which I feel a bit guilty about because I didn't really talk about it. BCH is exactly the same. So a lot of these Dino coins have exactly the same setup, which is this very, very high time frame pivot. And if it's any time to kind of get bullish, rejection over here, and we actually had that break. I think I was long in here and added up here somewhere, and that break, even if it comes down and retests and then goes again, that's fine for me. We've broken out of this huge value area, and that's enough for me for a trade. XRP, I'm in as well. Nice to see that that's actually doing okay. You would have seen my alerts go off. So all of these, well, not all of them, but most of them that I liked had some form of plan on them. XRP, literally just ping, tell me when it's coming up, because I don't really want to just pre-long it on and assume it's going to break out. I don't want to take on the risk up here. I'm happy to kind of ape in, and yeah, that's what I've done. Can I check CeeLo? I will check CeeLo for you now. So my CeeLo alert's already gone off. Again, it's the same principle. Same principle of you've got this huge consolidation, and we've finally broken out of it. And if this is the start of an omega risk on bull run, then this is lovely in terms of you've got an invalidation. You've got some vague levels to go after. Do I see CeeLo as having a decent narrative? Probably not. Newer coins are basically outpacing older coins, whether it's stuff like Pepe or whether it's stuff like even Pepe versus Doge, right? The only upside of Doge is basically that it's on some major exchanges and a little bit more liquid. But if you look at stuff like RNDR or newer coins like Sui or Tia, probably a good example around. Oh, excuse me. Of kind of how much they've ran. You want something like this, right? That's just running and going up. Like CeeLo has been in these conditions along with Tia, and Tia has given you a ridiculous return in terms of 8x to the highs, even from listing, and CeeLo hasn't done too much. Now I'm playing some of these catch-up trades as just swing trades and giving it a go, but I'm not super hopeful, particularly when you've got stuff like WIF that's just absolutely beasting it. And again, right, you've missed this entire move on WIF, and then everybody's going to start getting a little bit fatigued and a little bit, tired. Well, what do we want to do? Where's our position? Where are we going to mark up, and where are we interested in potentially, flipping on WIF? What's going to be our next entry if we get it? People seem to have this constant perception that you've missed out and that it's over and it's done. You just have to plan for the next trade, and that's what I didn't actually stream last week because I physically couldn't. My voice was so fucked. But that was what all this was about. That was what all these alerts were about in the group. Is there's a channel just called Charlie's Alerts, and they just ping off and they just go bang. Have a look at this. Have a look at this chart. Go and have a look at this. See what's going on. Do you want to take the long? As well as a schematic of how to play them. So it's kind of you have to think a little bit. But it's also right, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to plan for the next trades. So, right now I might stick an alert here, add an alert and go, right, tell me what's happening when it's happening. Obviously I'll change the code afterwards. And then, great. If it comes back to here, I'll remember that Charlie from a week ago told me that if WIF does this, I better look at fucking buying some. Because this is what I wanted. Whereas most people will shit their pants when something is down, whatever that is from the high. It's down, it's had a 35% pullback. Well, I'm not buying that, it's fucking weak. That's fine, absolutely fine, right? But when it starts going again, and, when it starts moving, what's going to be your trigger to jump on board that trade? This is what I mean, and, it's only one WIF chart, fine. Are we going to keep the same mean beta? Who knows, probably not. Is it just going to keep fucking off? Again, who knows? But what I want is I'm planning my next trade. And then I can sit there and I can wait. And if it comes to me, great. If it doesn't come to me, well, fuck it. There'll be something else. Oh shit, there's loads of stuff. I have not scrolled down the chat. My apologies. He turned me down on a project that ran 100% or something since. Neither of us got in. Probably. Yeah. I turned down a lot, mate. It's not personal. Some of it's I got offered something today, which was around music, and I'm like, oh, no, I'm not doing any music stuff again because I did that in 2021, and it made me money, but it wasn't good. Thoughts on my team on the go, and they seem to be making a lot of moves. Yeah, I think I genuinely, as an investor with a reasonably sized bag, take it with a pinch of salt. I think they're doing really well, and obviously. They are part of the whole Tau thing, and Tau's what 3.9 billion project at the moment. It's pretty huge. Real world asset narrative should be a good one. Yeah, I completely agree. Real world asset narrative is huge. I need to up my exposure to RWA, to be honest with you, because I'm not overly exposed to the narrative. But you can't catch them all. Do I support Fulham because I sound posh, Brev? Thanks. No, I don't really support football. That's how posh I am. Palm, more mini correction now. Yeah, no, I like Palm. But when I shed Palm, it was 0.2 or something like that. Mini correction. Oof. That's pretty brutal. But that's what it's done. So yeah, it's literally ran from the lows, sort of 16x. it's not going to just be up only, no sells. But yeah, it's been brought up. It's pretty good. I've not sold anything, but even this in terms of structure, it's quite nice, you know. Bosh, off we go. Only because there's a lot of Parnians in the chat. Sounds like your average CT shill. Had the project around launch, then post nothing, accumulate the lows, come in 2-3 months, collect clout 9 months down the road. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it if it works, right? And if in the process that people have made money by buying it at the lows, you know, one of the classic listing pumps, the classic patterns around listing is you get the list, you know, it gets hyped up, tokens get unlocked, and then it gets it just bleeds out, and then when it starts finding a bottom, you know, a lot of people take on the risk and start talking about it again, and off it goes. And that has happened with an awful lot of projects. It's just pretty standard, unfortunately. Into any Pudgy or Panda partnership plays? Oh, do you know what? I'll make a confession because it's not, you know, typical influencer nature to do so. But Pudgy Penguins was one of the only NFTs I ever lost money on, ever. I somehow managed to lose money on it in 2020, 2021, whatever it was. I made a shitload out of NFTs. I'm not gonna lie. It, you know, was an incredible time. You mint something, you get $30,000 just for playing. Thank you very much. Thanks for turning up. But yeah, somehow when I was doing my tax return, I was like, wait, I actually lost money on fucking Pudgy Penguins. Christ. And now they're all worth like 20, so I should have just held it instead of selling it at a loss like a retard. But there you go. You get some bangers. You know, I bought a Beeple for $1, sold it for over 100,000. So, you know, I'll cry into my dollar notes, shall I? What IRL investments are you desiring these days? To be honest with you, I want more properties. I want to build a bit of a property portfolio, and I just want to, you know, most of my proceeds from this bull run are going to go into property. I've cleared a lot of debt for people, so that was most of my last bull run profits, well, not most of them, but certainly a lot of them. Just giving people financial freedom. So yeah, this one is a bit more mine. Saw a lot of info regarding volume and stuff, plus shillers on Twitter, plus charts, so I said, fuck it. We look at Dusk? Yeah, of course. Dusk. I can't remember what Dusk does, to be honest. Similar kind of pattern, though, you know, in terms of, like, for me, it's just a classic flip the level and get on board and just chill. You know, this will probably go absolutely mad, and everyone will be happy. But I don't think it's got as strong a narrative as everything else. But I could be wrong. I need to remind myself what Dusk actually does. You know, even just stuff like this, being quite aggressive with it in terms of you've got an invalidation. You know, like literally, if it comes back into this range, then you know, for me that's game over. Am I reading Twitch chat? I am so far behind it now. I'm so sorry. The wheelie thing got stuck. Always money to be made in these markets. Yeah, exactly. For people with limited capitals, you recommend prop firms or funded trading platforms. And thankfully, I never had to go through either. So I don't know what the answer to that question is. There are people I know have been down the prop firm route, and it's very intense. But you will get a lifelong skill set and set of friends out of it. But a lot of people fail it. And funded trading platforms, I mean, I'm not going to talk about them because not qualified to. You averaged in ammo at the lows? Ammo? As in amino rewards? Actually, I can't remember if I topped up my bag or not. I know a few of my friends were. But this is what I mean. So, like, list, everyone's hyped, sell off, and now you're at a point of like classic kind of retest and hopefully run again. And a lot of these bags, I hope will do that. I haven't actually seen this chart for a while. Yeah, that's pretty fucking brutal in terms of sell off. That's what I mean is like muted volatility. Let's have a look. Still pretty reasonable volume, but good evening, good evening. Coming from Twitch chat. You're reading Twitch chat? Yeah, mate, I'm reading Twitch. Well, I'm reading Twitch and YouTube. I can see both. I was just really far behind on them. Would you TP Palm? I don't know. I'll probably take some off around $1. On the assumption that on the assumption that it gets there. Obviously, it's a pretty chunky market cap in terms of size, but it's chunking out some decent volume. Yeah, for me, I haven't really thought about a target for Palm. I think a lot of my my AI bags are kind of just, let's see which one runs and does a PAL. Like PAL again. We're doing quite a few shitcoins today. I like it. I actually like talking about shitcoins because when I like perp trading, but in these conditions, perp trading's so fucking easy. Like any idiot that can do a cup and handle. Oh, look, my cup and handle, boys. Oh, look, there's a line along here and invalidation under there. Right, tick. Anyone who can draw a triangle, invalidation under there, tick. Or draw a diagonal line. Oh, look, price doing this. Oh, look, price out. Let's go long. Those three setups, just find a chart with one of those three setups on, smack an RR tool on it, and off you fucking go, right? You're the best trader known to man. Like, it is not difficult in these conditions. I don't find any satisfaction really from trading, apart from obviously the fact that P&L just goes up by virtue of the fact that you can press a green button. But yeah, it's not very. I think like low cap narrative stuff is much harder, but that's probably just harder for me because I've done a lot less of it, and particularly lately. Yeah. What was I going on about? What's going to do a POW? Like, what's going to go? Are we here with Palm in terms of like, actually, can it really run? And can it really just, is this the first? Because actually, if you look at the POW chart, this is pretty much what Palm did. It went up, it sold off, it had a boring little consolidation, and now it's running up and having that kind of first sell-off, and actually, this first sell-off here, and now it's, or potentially, not financial advice, all that kind of stuff. If we have a next leg on AI, which obviously we're in the meme season at the moment, yeah, that's what I would like to do. And I'd say I'd sell some at the Pico top, obviously, and create the top. I didn't TP anything, no. I didn't. I have not taken profits on a lot of bags, and I'm going to start. I might just shave a little bit off soon because I can feel the euphoria bleeding into me. But there's a real difficult balance between being euphoric and being early, and it's a really difficult one to judge. A lot of people will say, well, you should just hold it to basically infinity. But I don't think a lot of bags are immune to, a wider market correction at any point. So if you're sat there and you've put 10 grand in something, and that 10 grand has turned into 150, and you're sat there going, well, 150 grand's a decent chunk of change. I should probably at least take my initial out, maybe take another 10 out just to say I've paid myself. And then, is 130 grand a lot of money? Yeah, I should probably take another 10, maybe another 10. And then you go, okay, well, I've kind of taken 50 out of my 150, right, fine. But you're kind of trading on the basis that it's a reasonable sum of money, not on the basis of what is your token doing and how good is that token and how good is that project and how viral do you think it will go. And there's a balance to be had for both, I think. And I'm not the best person to talk to about getting that balance right because I paper-handed $1 billion worth of ship. So I've learned a lot from my mistakes. And I equally did very, very well in 2021 because I changed my approach, and with Rune, where I had the maximum conviction I probably ever had on a single altcoin investment, I had targets to sell at $20, which was a huge amount of dollars to me personally. So for all you know, that could be $10, that could be $10 million, who knows? That plan and that level of patience, believe you me, when you are seeing swings in your portfolio that are more money than you ever thought you would, have in your bank account at any point in time, on a daily basis, it's not the easiest. So yeah, it's quite difficult, but the best thing I can advise is having some form of plan. If you need the money and if you are checking on your Blockfolio every day. I know you probably don't use Blockfolio anymore. That shows my age and how long I've been in crypto. But yeah, I think that's probably my rant. Had some look at scans AI play. Yeah, no, that's good. Basically anything that's kind of had some form of AI in it has done really well. Let's see what scans is doing. Yeah, nice, real nice run up. And what we got? We got Pandora. So this was one of the narratives that really fucking weird, and I've been lazy and I've still got my Pandora bag, so I'm up an amount from it, because I just didn't believe that the narrative was dead, and what I put in it was kind of fine to lose. But yeah, this whole narrative that it was basically born in a day and then died in a day or born in 2 days and died in 2 days, absolutely madness. How do you differentiate versus a strong and a weak altcoin? So there's loads of different ways. This is the main way that I preach, which is spaghetti, so you can see what's going on. But I use it on like the 5 and the 1 second chart and just see what's going on in terms of beta. But what's strong and weak? I mean, if you flick through some charts, I literally flick through some charts and you can see what ones are strong, which ones are weak, right? You've got everything kind of that's doing this pattern, which is it's consolidated for fucking ages and it hasn't broken out yet. And maybe I'm a bit shit in terms of placement of my alert on that one, which means that it's a laggard. You've got stuff which has done this, broken out, and actually probably broke out back here somewhere and is maybe consolidating, for the next leg. You've got market structure, so literally basis or basic, TA, which is it's producing a series of higher highs and higher lows, and that it's in a reasonably strong uptrend. You can stick an EMA on it, which is just something like that. And if that's pointing up, it's in an uptrend. If market structure is supporting it, it's in an uptrend. And just comparing the charts, compare ENJ, this dog shit, to INJ, for example, where you've had basically up only since the start of September 2022. Which one is stronger? Yeah, fucking stupid question, really. Prefer Twitch? Oh, nice, Trash Panda. Do you have any tips on what to do if you only have a third exposure to the coins you wanted to accumulate at plan levels, and now they're around 50%, 50% buy them on dips, so the average goes up, or deploy into other coins? Ooh, that's a tough question. I think if you've got, for me, it depends on your approach. So my approach has always been, I will trade, I will invest, and I will do shitcoin stacks, and I will do a little bit of gambling. So I'm quite happy to go into NFTs. NFTs, I think, was 1% of my portfolio, and it ended up being 28% of my portfolio at one point. It was fucking massive. It just went wild, and I put a little bit more in and just kept making money out of it. So there's definitely something to be said for allocating something to new type of risk, right? And I don't know what that is. I thought it was Pandora the other week, in terms of new gamify NFT type 404 tokens. Thought maybe that was it. Maybe we get some form of strong narrative off it. We didn't. But always worth having a small amount dedicated to it. But taking a step back, I think if your approach is, I'm only going to own 3 projects, I just want to stick money in it and just be gone with it. Like, if you've got the utmost conviction in those projects and you think it's going to go 10, 50, 100x from where you're at, I'm not sure I'd be too bothered about the kind of 50% move up, personally. And I would always ask myself, like, why didn't I pull the trigger to start with? Because if you didn't pull the trigger, there's a reason. I don't think you've got enough conviction in your investment thesis, personally. And you need conviction. You just need it. It's, for blind holding through this kind of shit. Look at POW. Look at POW, for example. POW did a fucking 75, 80% retrace down here. And we were talking about POW. I was shilling POW down here. I wrote a thread down here somewhere on it. And then from those prices, let's do it from the absolute peak to the lows, just for dramatic effect, obviously. It went down 73%. You've got to take 3/4 of your investment off because I shilled you at the top. And obviously now we know that wasn't the top, and that would have been an absolutely incredible buy. You'd have been buying down here, and you'd be up the 8x at the highs, even if you went. It went from the high to the high, so a little bit of credit. But yeah, I'm not sure I'd be that fussed. And if you wait for your perfect entry, you're probably not going to get them in these conditions. That's if you're investing, obviously. If you're investing with a long time horizon and you think there's a 10x in this project easy, not POW necessarily, but a project, and you think, well, there's going to be 10x from 6 months from now, so why do you care so much about the sort of 30-40%? And the example that I'll go back to actually is Rune, where I fucked myself over huge profits because I'd literally marked out this perfect breakout here. It was like that, wasn't it? Yeah. And in this candle, in this 4-hour candle, I'd marked an alert here and said, right, well, when it comes back and retests, I'm going to buy that. Bearing in mind, this was in a real low volatility environment. So the fact that this went like 2x was fucking mental. It's not like everything at the moment, which is like Pepe, which is 2xing in a couple of days. Like, this was wild price action for the time because we'd basically had the whole market do this and like no volatility through August or October. And I didn't take that trade in the end because I was greedy over like 2% and I ended up missing a 200% move. So that would be my counter. But obviously, not financial advice. You kind of have to make your own decisions as to your own risk appetite. But yeah, a rising tide will carry all ships. Take a look at Dim. Oh man, Dim's going to be shy, isn't it? It's going to be down only. Some shitty airdrop. Yeah. Like, why would I trade Dim? Like, at this point, it's just, to me, 0 point in trying to bottom catch this. Show me some strength, show me a reclaim, but this is exactly the kind of setup that I'm talking about. There's actually two setups that I like in here. One is you've got this range here. If you want to start getting in early, longer breakout. Second is longer reclaim, and it's literally as simple as drawing a couple of lines on a chart and going, well, that's my invalidation. Off I go. So we've got 100 people here, and everyone's just shilling shitcoins. Come on, boys and girls and days and ladies and everything else. What's going to be your 2024 dual play? When you say dual, do you mean the chart's going to end up looking like this? Do you mean the chart's going to end up doing this, my friend? Where the fuck is it? This? Is that what you mean? Or do you mean what's my, dual, my big pick? Yeah, pre-nuke or post-nuke. That's exactly it, Trash Panda. No, not this. You mean the opposite, don't you? Yeah, you're welcome, Ivan. I do try and like genuinely help people and just try and be the voice of reason, as opposed to a pure influenza where everything goes up and all I do is make millions of dollars every day. And why can't you do it? Are you stupid? Practical thoughts that may help your own thought processes. We went over whiff as an example. Like, whiff was so good in terms of creme de la creme, possibly. I like that. Oh, this is the best thing ever. Maybe not financial advice. Do your own research. Lol, JK. JTO. Yes, I've looked at JTO before actually, a few times. And you're right, that's kind of very similar in terms of what I like. So you've got a high time frame pivot there. You've basically got the lows being respected, and you've got that change in trend here in terms of this. And you've obviously had a pretty strong breakout. For me, if you can actually close above there, then maybe that's a long in terms of this. But I actually think what will probably happen is this, and you get the breakout a little bit later. But I could be wrong. I don't want to take that trade there because of the way it's rejected. And hopefully that makes sense. That hopefully you can see kind of my logic as to why like that rejection is pretty crap. But yeah, there's potential for it to kind of go back up and actually that round off as a change in market structure, and actually you're bullish and off you go, and there's your invalidation under there. You're still around 30% of stables. I don't want FOMO. I think the fact that you're aware that you want FOMO is probably a really good step. I think there's a lot of people who are just going to deploy into tops on the basis of they've missed the move and they're sidelined and all this kind of stuff, right? Like that's fine, but someone has to buy the top, and it's probably going to be you if that's your approach. But the fact that you're recognizing that you want to FOMO is good. Having been here for so long and been in this space for so long, you will undoubtedly feel that you've missed the move, the bull runs over, how are you sidelined, holy shit, you're retarded, you looked at this chart the other day, looked at this project the other day, oh my god, you didn't buy it, oh, idiot. Like, that's your brain trying to make you learn for next time, that's all it is. The thing that you don't do with that information and your reaction to that way you process that kind of FOMO and that beating yourself up for those things is immediately go and buy something that's up 4,000% on the day with your entire net worth. I personally think if you're sidelined at this point, there will be buying opportunities, and there will be other opportunities in terms of nice rotations and trades. Like this Matic trade might end up being the best trade of my year, right? I don't have high hopes for it, to be honest with you. But it's very fucking clean in terms of levels. Very fucking clean. And if it runs up to here, I'm going to make a pretty penny out of it. So, Matic could be one of my best trades. I don't know. Doge could be. Doge is running pretty hard. Are we actually going to see, the old daddy, the old guard return? Is Twitter going to do something? If I wake up tomorrow and Twitter's done something with Doge, it'll be fucking up here somewhere. And again, that could be my best trade of the year. You're always kind of going to have opportunity, I think, in this market. And as long as you're deploying at times that are sensible to you, that are risk managed and in line with your style, then great. I think if you're in 30% stables now, fair enough. I'm in a lot more percent stables than that. Of my entire net worth. So what? Have I fumbled this run? Should I have put all the cash that's in my bank straight into crypto? Absolutely fucking not. Absolutely fucking not. There's still going to be trades, there's still going to be a market. Even if this is the top, there's still going to be a market. I'm not suggesting it is, by the way. I'm just trying to say that there's always another trade. Am I in BRCZ? No, sir. Good morning, Adrian McDonald. Adrian. Well, with that. Makes sense to respect the fail breakout. Do you think Sync's about to send? Yeah, I think Sync's one of the, again, this is like, all the on-chain stuff is high risk, low cap, Ponzi, right? Pretty decent like liquidity and volume and stuff. And again, you know, broke out the range, retested it, and off it goes. I think this is one of the ones where it's like basically a safe moon play for me in terms of like, if it goes to 100 million market cap, then I'll take some off the table. If it doesn't go there, then I'm just probably going to back hold it to zero. But you know, off we go in terms of that kind of meme parabolic curve. Like, hopefully it picks up and we see that move, that retest into the value area down here, and it goes. Very high risk, as with all of these shit coins, but I think this is the one that's like positioned to be the kind of, can I say it? The retail retard sort of target audience. And if they pull it off, I think they've got like 15 million in their treasury at the moment or something, so it's pretty decent, which is almost as much as their bloody market cap, you know, or circulating market cap. So yes, I think it's a good Ponzi. Catch us later. Appreciate the knowledge. You're welcome. You still like Inspect? Yeah, I still like Inspect. Inspect's actually one that I was looking at earlier and I got completely distracted because it sat in a range. And where is it? And I'm just waiting for it to fucking break out. And I was like, I really want to add to this. But equally, I don't want to buy the fucking top. So I was kind of looking for a setup. And couldn't really find anything other than like literally just buying this. But yeah, I think when this, I mean, it's a pretty wide range, right? But when this breaks, because I do think it, well, it will break either to the upside or the downside, right? And I think that we've had 1, 2, 3 attempts, or this will be the third attempt, at really breaking out of that range, and I think if we break out to the upside, then it will actually go and it will actually mark up quite violently. But I invested in this project. I still think it's a very good project. Yeah. Is that your question? So yeah, I still like Inspect. I've still got the vast majority of it. I think I sold some, just to be transparent. I think. I honestly can't remember. I would need to double check. But I think I took my initials out on Inspect. Speaking of dinos, have you looked at sushi? Yes. Can you tell us about the Paragon Group? Of course I can. I'll quite happily show the Paragon Group. So the Paragon Group's got a ton of educational content in there. It's got, basically, we do a weekly live stream, we do a weekly outlook, so at the start of the week, so talk about our trade plan, set up alerts, go through what positions we're in, go through what positions we want to take. So, for example, this week I was talking about whiff. This week I basically closed down the stream and entered Matic. So I was marking up everything and just saying, right, this is what I want to see, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to take positions should they come up. You can probably, I don't have my whiff squiggle on here, but my whiff squiggle was basically this, like that. And if we can literally reclaim that pivot, then off we go. And everyone knows me for spaghetti and looking at low time frame spaghetti. And when I have a trigger that is I'm reclaiming a level on high relative strength, that is a beautiful trade for me. And that's everything that I'm trying to push on people is that is plus EV trading in crypto for me, is playing that beta to the long side. And in these conditions, that's where the money is. And aside from that, we have a lot of education around psychology, around journaling, around setting plans. And to be honest with you, I've said this to Magus, is I feel like there's almost too much. A lot of people just want to join and just want to start trading and just want to chuck some lines on and try and go, hey, look, I made some money. And you can probably do that just by following along with our thought processes and stuff. But I think we do take it to the next level of, here's basically every bit of educational content you could probably want about trading. And it's probably in there. And if it's not in there, we'll record it. Magus in particular has got like thousands of hours I think you'd need about a decade to go through all of his videos. But the main ones are very, very good in terms of order flow and all of that kind of stuff, which probably isn't overly applicable in these current conditions, because the current conditions basically need you to follow the trend and to just find simple invalidations and to know how to trend follow and when not to. And obviously nobody knows when the trend is going to start exactly. Nobody knows where the trend is going to end exactly, but there are some simple ways that you can maximize your profits, I think, and stay in trades for longer and not get as chopped up on trades, which I've actually gone through quite a lot in this video or this stream. Yes, that's a bit of my shill. We've been doing it for 2.5 years now, I think. There's a lot of stuff in there. Could you chart NTRN? Of course. Of course. It's up only. I mean, this was just that. There you go. Look, take a fucking mental snapshot of that. Like, huge range, huge sell-off, reclaim, bosh. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. That will happen on some really good coins at some point. And that flush into that reclaim, lovely trade. I just thought I'd point that out. I mean, there's not really much to fucking talk about here, is there? Like, really? Like, there's not much I can do in terms of charting this. Like, 4-hour reset at a nice kind of pivot point. Okay, if I was long, I probably wouldn't be selling it here, but if it came back down here, I'd be a little bit more wary. From a daily perspective, that is a shift in market structure if the daily closes like that, because you've got a higher low. So I actually would suggest not one of the strongest altcoins. I would stick it on spaghetti, but I don't want to mess spaghetti up. Yeah, I don't know it, so I wouldn't be looking to rush into a long, but yeah, if I was in a long, I'd probably still hold it. And if I was looking to short it, I'd probably just close my Bybit account, because I personally don't think many people should be shorting in these conditions. Good evening, hologram. Just looking for small gap stuff to spot buy now and keep me occupied and ride. If it's 0 at 0, yeah, that's fair enough. There's a lot of stuff out there, and to be honest, I don't know if you're better jumping into things that are kind of exist, that exist and have existed for a long time. And stuff like Mog has gone absolutely bananas. And what was the other one? Trump. So I bought Trump's dog last night. What's it called? This. Again, don't fucking buy it. It's not financial advice. Somewhere up here, and it's just fucking instantly down, isn't it? Like, ate the top, but my friend was telling me to too, so we fucking do it. Ate with the boys. What else we got? We got stuff like Fork again. All these are very high risk, low caps. Little consolidation. Is it going to break up or down? If it breaks down, it's probably fucking over. And if it breaks up, it'll probably go on a nice little run. They're all very high risk. I do not have millions of dollars sat in these, so don't think that I'm risking the house and all that kind of stuff. I'm not betting big on these. For me, it's calculated, managed bets. Let me look at the IWA desk. We've done that. This next. I don't know, actually. I was saying earlier, Goku, that my RWA exposure is pretty poor. So if you have any suggestions for RWA, I am actually genuinely all ears, because it's one narrative that I'm completely underexposed to. And that's... I think when I did... So in 2021, maybe? No, 2022. Must be 2022. One of the first videos I did in the Paragon, actually, was around narratives and emerging narratives that I thought would be big at some point. And the two that I picked up on that, I always said memes are going to be big, always, because they will be, because it's memes. Memes are a reflection of cultural attention, right? That's what they are, personified in this case by a frog, Pepe. But for, real quote unquote projects, the ones that I wanted to get exposure to was SocialFi, massive. I thought that would be incredible. When FriendTech came along, if they hadn't fucked it up and actually they'd launched a token, that would have been the only point that I would have taken real money and slammed it back into crypto as hard as I fucking could, because I had maximum conviction that if that was executed as a token, where people everybody could make money out of, not just the influencers who chucked a room open, myself included, by the way. I'm not going to absolve myself of that shit. But that whole SocialFi blend and, however it was implemented, I've always thought was going to be a huge fucking sector of crypto. Because it's basically like if you could monetize and have a share in Facebook or Twitter. BTS allowance shares are so damn predatory, 0.9 times. Just see the top traders didn't buy a single coin. Really? Well, they just got given them. Hoy, watch your mind on Samo. I mean, the thing with all memes, right, and I will tell you this, all memes are fucking dog shit. And if you think that memes are, the future of finance, you're retarded. Can you make good money from trading memes? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's where you buy some dog shit, you wake up the next day and it's fucking 10x, right? That's the dream. But it's basically a fucking lottery ticket, right? And some people get so invested in these and so become a culture, dog with hat, for example. I'll be honest with you, it's fucking cringe, right? On the basis of, people that are going out with the devs and, whatever. It's a meme coin at the end of the day, and it's done really fucking well. It's gone from fuck all to, all over Twitter, on the major exchanges. It's a fucking 600 million market cap. Christ. It's doing 7 million a day in volume. Big fucking dub, right? Legendary. But I just, unless you were buying early on these things or you're trading them on perps with a nice invalidation, you'll probably find that they have a one whopping candle that just wipes out a lot of your gains. Whiffs even on Kraken, yeah, and it's great, right? Incredible that they've drummed up so much volume. And there's loads of them, right? There's loads and loads, and there's fucking Bobber, I don't know, some shitcoin. But it's so fucking predatory. Like, look, to get the right one. Oh yeah, 8 Bobber here, great. 8 Bobber, 1,300 holders, 7 million volume, whoosh. Yeah, it's a tough game. Anita Max win. Wasn't this all over Twitter a few months ago? Yeah, again, big breakout, double top, meme TA, just fucking memes are brutal. Can this run again? Yeah, absolutely. Probably get a couple of X out of it, but yeah, memes are difficult, boys and girls and days. Drake Shilling win, let's go. Yeah, rockets all over Twitter. It's fine. I just think that and invariably I shill my bags. I think shill's quite a negative connotation, but I try and say why I like my bags and why I've invested in my bags and why if my bags go down I will lose money and why if my bags go up I will make money. And I think that's perfectly fucking acceptable. To say that something is going to be the future of finance and just blind long and hold here and all that kind of bullshit, I don't know. I don't get on board with as much, but to each their own. To each their own. So yeah, I think that's probably it from me. It's fucking 8:30, boys and girls. I'm gonna go to bed in a minute. Christ, we're out for ages. So what have we done today? We've talked about Bitcoin and ETH. We've talked about alts that you can get on board now, alts that you can get on board in the future, simple patterns for joining trends, simple methods for staying in trends, some narrative thoughts, and general portfolio deployment. What else have we done? We talked about some specific setups, some specific alerts, and how to handle alerts, and how to handle trade plans, and how to plan for any form of pullback, and plan for your future self and your trades. Let the trades come to you. It's much, much easier, I can assure you. And yeah, I think we've done quite a lot. I actually think it's been a pretty reasonable stream. I don't know if you guys have actually liked the video and, shown me some love. I have no idea. I'm assuming you've all been wonderful people and liked it, right? Right? Yes, we got 41 likes. Lovely. What a fucking lovely group. Absolutely lovely. Well, thank you for the likes. That's made me smile. So what else? Any other questions or anything? Any other bits and pieces before we run away? Magus is telling me that my stream is 720p. Fuck's sake. I appreciate even more the fact that you've sat there through poor quality stream. Good God. I can only apologise. It looks good on my It looks good on my monitor. Last question, up or down? That's a good question. Really good question. I would genuinely be looking for more up, basically. And whilst I'm sat here hoping we get some form of dip down to here, it's unlikely, and I think we are more likely to just pull back a little bit, consolidate, and I'm looking for ranges, I'm looking for simple range plays, and I'm just looking for reasons to get on board long again. And if we do get a brutal pullback, lovely. I don't think a brutal pullback will invalidate the trend, which is up. I've actually seen it. I don't know if I've seen it, but I've definitely drawn it. Mean parabolic curve. Let's go. Touch some points. You actually start getting like this. It's actually quite clean in terms of start moving up, start getting some consolidation, next leg, next move, and then you get that real blow off top around all-time highs, and then I think you either get the pullback straight away like we did last time, or we get something like this when you're then looking for the flip of the retest. But there's another trade, is my point. There's another trade to be had, at a later date, if you don't want to get in on this, which, personally, I don't want to. So, yeah. Nobody asked INJ. I think we went over INJ very briefly, but INJ, I know it. You just draw a triangle on it, and it's basically popped out of that triangle now, so it's probably the next leg up, stop under there, and off we go. Should we see if that's right? Should we see if I'm autistic enough to remember the charts? Yeah, pretty much. It's fucking sad, isn't it? Fucking sad. Yeah. So if you're really running aggressively on it, you'd go for something like that. But for me, it doesn't quite stack up with the current narrative, which is this is where the money is flowing, and it is memes and Gala, bizarrely, and big time. So it's like GameFi and meme, and INJ doesn't really sit in that, and especially when you've got this across that. Across those highs. Let's make it a little bit wider. Do I really want to take this? No, I would actually be more comfortable taking this in terms of we've pushed up and reclaimed that, and it gives you probably a wider invalidation and a smaller position size, but it tells you that you've basically broken out of this value area here. But that's my personal risk appetite and all that kind of stuff. So on that bombshell, I will love you and leave you. As my voice is actually going now, as you can probably hear. I will play the outro because you all deserve it. You've liked my video and given me some wonderful love. and ask lots of sensible questions. So thank you very much for your time. Until next week, adios.
He's BTC Charlie with his linguini charting. He loses sometimes, but hardly. He's BTC Charlie. But now he's GBP Charlie. It doesn't matter what he's charting. His trading is tough, but it's not all that bad with Charlie. He's got memes in the morning and more in the evening. It's Charlie. And when trading gets hard and support starts to lean, search Charlie.